Joe's first on camera. Joe's kind of been a behind the scenes guy. A lot of people don't maybe even know who Joe Kania is, you fools.
First time ever, maybe, on camera.
Yeah, Joe, can you confirm this is your first time? This is your first like Flow on camera moment?
First time on camera. So
Wow.
I've done like Facebook Live stuff, Instagram Live stuff, like behind the camera. But I've never been on the camera. I'm just kind of hanging out behind the scenes.
Wow.
For everyone that hates our Instagram and all those nasty comments, those are coming to me. So
Yes. So he is a content marketer alongside Kyle Brackey. They are a dynamic duo. And Joe's here today to talk about engagement metrics on social. No, just kidding. No,
He is a crusader.
he's a crusader, and Joe asked to come on the show to talk about the Bergen Catholic program, Coach Dave Bell, et cetera, et cetera. Let's start right there with Bergen Catholic with an update of sorts. So yesterday I learned a lot from someone extremely close to the situation who's, that's close enough. That's all you need to know, I guess. 1, law enforcement has reached out to the plaintiff's family on 3 occasions, trying to meet with them, trying to talk to them, hey, you made these accusations of sexual assault. You should talk to the police about that, right? The family won't talk to them, okay? 2, CPS, Child Protective Services, that their version of that in New Jersey has said all the accusations against Coach Bell, against Bergen Catholic, are unfounded and unsubstantiated, so untrue. There's nothing true about them whatsoever. So there's that. And then this is the most interesting thing. One of the attorneys for the case, Martin Asatrian, called the attorney for Coach Bell and said, this has spiraled out of control, where this guy just wants to wrestle his senior year. He wants to wrestle in college, blah, blah, blah. Will you sign a voluntary dismissal? And they're like, okay. And then the Martin Asatrian's like, but also I need you to sign a release that you're not going to sue us.
For defamation or for...
Yeah, for I mean, I don't know. There's probably a number of charges they could levy against this group. They're dismissing this outright. CPS says it's unfounded. They won't even talk to the police.
I don't know legal maneuvering, but I mean...
Coach Bell, et cetera, if they sue them.
Okay,
so
I want to ask you a couple questions, but get to you have a 4th point, I believe.
No, those 3.
Okay. So in that, they say that, this kid just wants to wrestle his senior year. Are they suggesting that he remains with the team?
No, he wants to. He's just saying he's not going to be back at Bergen. So I think he's going to wrestle somewhere. Maybe I think he tried to get into St. Joe's
and Pope.
But they've already. This is the craziest thing about this is, what were they thinking? Well, I mean, 1 week in, they're just like, we're out. We're dismissing.
1 week in.
And the thing is, they went to the media with this. They had this lawsuit that they knew was untrue, where they accused Coach Bell of all this, calling a kid shredded and I love you, and then just throwing sexual assault in there 19 times with no information about it.
Just the word itself, right? Where did they
see this going?
If the case is so flimsy, which they know it is, where did they expect? If they're willing to retract it like that quickly, where did they expect the case to go? Like, where? If they were using it just for leverage to get what they want, what did they want?
Yeah, what did they want?
Because they obviously did not have the confidence or the evidence to see it all the way through, because it only took a week for him to shatter. If they didn't have a real case, what did they expect to get out of it?
As angry as they have been. I mean, first of all, they filed it in April. All this stuff happened in December and January. So they hung on to it, that anger, for that many months into April. And then they say...
Yeah, we got all our stuff together.
They file it. They run to the media. The other attorney has been on TV and all this other stuff. And then it's just 1 week that pulling it back. We want to voluntarily dismiss it.
It seems like it was just pure anger and pure bitterness.
And one of the issues is because this has been a back and forth between the coaching staff and this group of parents via email. There's all these emails. I could read an email right now from January 31st that the father sent to Brother Walsh, the guy. I don't know what is Brother Walsh's role. What's his title, Joe?
Walsh is president of the school, so he's like, they have a principal, and he's kind of like the next level because they also, and they were mentioned in the lawsuit, right? The Archdiocese of Newark.
Right.
The school operates through the school, but it also has a leg that operates through the church. So they've got a guy that's, above the principal who works with both the school and the church.
Got
That's
it.
what Brother Walsh does.
Got it. So it's an email to Brother Walsh. So this guy's going way over the top here. January 31st, all he wants is a wrestle off. January 31st, he's saying all this stuff happened in December, happened in early January. All the sexual assaults happened, and all you're worried about, Father, Father, the plaintiff, is getting your kid a wrestle off. I mean, so my point is, all this, it's so obvious what they were doing and what they were actually upset about that I just can't imagine how people who went through law school and passed the bar exam could get to this bill and let's just run it. I mean, are lawyers in general just that power crazy? They just have this aura of invincibility that they thought they could do this?
That's
it's
what
crazy.
You have to have a certain level of intelligence and instinct. Insert your lawyer jokes, but you go through law school and undergrad, you have to have a certain level of critical thinking to become a lawyer. But then to go through the process that they did, so silly, was just pure silliness, and to put the stuff in the document that they did, in the legal papers, it says, "Well, Brother Walsh said enough is enough." We asked for answers, and he just dismissed us saying enough is enough. Yeah, he said enough is enough because
enough of you.
Because you're just barking up the wrong tree. You're
opportunity to earn his spot on the team, which he would have to earn. This means a fair wrestle off. It's like one of the last paragraphs. That's all this is about, guys.
So you wanted a wrestle off.
Didn't get it. Actually, he did, but he didn't get it in the way he wanted it. Therefore, let's sue them and make the most heinous accusation essentially you can make against
and
a
then
coach.
You have the audacity to put in the legal document that their response to you was enough is enough. Yeah, enough is enough because you're being a crazy parent.
Yeah. Boy, that's Mike Riordan was saying Coach Bell, all his sacrifice, and he hit the crazy parent lottery here.
No,
this is all time crazy parent. So I wanted Joe wanted to come on, and I'm glad he's on because I know I've met Coach Bell and know of his reputation. Willie does as well, but none of us have worked closely with him, know him well, have been coached by him. So I think it'd be great just to have Joe and just talk about the men that are at Bergen Catholic and the guy that Coach Bell to be.
Cool. So when I first heard these accusations, right, you hear these things come up, super serious, and you always you don't want to come at a victim, right? And you want to have an open mind, even if it's someone who you know really well and respect. When I heard this, it kind of struck a different type of chord than maybe some other situations you would hear, just kind of because of my relationship I had with Coach Bell. So I met Coach Bell when I was probably 13, wrestling for schoolboys on Team New Jersey. And I wrestled with him at Bergen Catholic for 2 years, but he coached me at Fargo a bunch of years. He coached me at cadet duels, junior duels. He traveled all over the country. After I graduated high school, I came back and I worked with NJ.com and I covered them on the media side. So if something like this had been true, I would have seen it, heard it, talked about it. And there was never 5 seconds in my entire life where anything like that was ever talked about, discussed, a possibility. Anyone, anywhere, ever said anything like that. So when you have a relationship with someone for 15 years and you hear something that's so out of character, I think that's kind of why a lot of people came and started, stepping up and saying, if they're looking for other victims, other people to come and say, well, that wasn't me. That didn't happen to me. That wasn't the case. That's not how he was. And that's the experience that I had. So I think something, too, about, and no one asked me to come on, right? I wanted to come on, and I felt strongly that I wanted to put my name on this The people who, and everyone says it, right? Coach Bell has such a big impact on me. Good guy, great coach, and like CP said last week, not about the X's and O's. I certainly wasn't the best wrestler on that Bergen Catholic team. A lot of people that you see being cited in the newspapers, defending Coach Bell, they weren't state champs. Some of them were JV guys, and I think that just speaks volumes, right? It doesn't matter who you are in the room, and they say fair wrestle off. So, my freshman year, I wrestled off they let you wrestle off every single week. And my freshman year, I wrestled off every single week and got beaten, except for once, but it was best of 3, right? So to say that there's not a fair wrestle off system, and I don't know how they operate it now. Maybe they've kind of changed it to the college style where, because they have such depth in these open tournaments, but that was not a place where there were unfair wrestle offs ever. They would bring in a third-party coach to come and wrestle and do the wrestle-offs. They do them every week, and they say, "You want to wrestle off? Here, here's your opportunity." So it was the real tragedy, and I was talking with Nomad about it this morning. Is even after this gets dismissed, even after this gets proven wrong, those search results linking Coach Bell's name to this aren't going to go anywhere. They're still going to live on the internet. And how many parents and how many kids are going to have seen that initial article and they're not going to see the follow-up? And maybe now subconsciously that's in their mind if it wasn't true. So I thought it was important just to kind of, say, been there, done that, never the kind of guy. And it's a shame. What I will say, while I've never seen any of the things he was accused of, I have certainly seen plenty of the things that we're speculating on where kids threaten to leave if they don't get special treatment, where people expect to get the superstar treatment because they're a superstar athlete. And I'm not saying, we're speculating that's the situation here. I don't want to say anything definitively, but if we're saying, hey, this type of assault happened, or this type of behavior, blackmail, threatening, that type of thing happened, 15 years, I've seen a lot of one, and I've seen absolutely none of the other.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a part of what's going on, wanting superstar treatment. And I think you said it well. And to your point, yeah, they bring in actual officials to do the wrestle off, like actual New Jersey sanctioned officials to do the wrestle off. So yeah, it's fair. It's on the up and up. And I think the biggest point you made is he's not catering to the stars on the team. Everyone's equal. You spoke to that, and that's what coaching's about. And you're right about the search. You search Dave Bell, that's going to come up, and we know his reputation, and people that have worked with Coach Bell know his reputation. But all things being equal, if I don't really know the wrestling world and I have a kid and I'm considering sending him to school, one has this accusation and one doesn't, right? And I don't really know Coach Bell. You're probably not going to send him there, right? All things being equal.
It's not ideal. I think the publications in New Jersey should do their due diligence and put a little respect on his name. But if I'm a parent in New Jersey, let's give some of the parents, we say crazy parents, but let's give them some credit. If you have a kid that's coming up in schoolboys and stuff, they know the scene in Jersey for sure. Yeah. They're diehards. They know. They're going to know. They're going to know. They're not going to be flying blind and say, well, I'm thinking about sending my kid to Bergen Catholic. Well, let's Google Dave Bell. No, they know the reputation. They know the story. They know what's going on. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I would send, right? Like, for sure. I'd
in a
send
heartbeat.
my kid to Dave Bell.
In a heartbeat. Send my kid there.
Yeah. There you have it. Obviously, more to come here. It hasn't been officially dismissed. It feels like there's going to be some more time on this story.
It feels like you said the word disbarred, and
if this isn't grounds for it, I don't know what is. If this isn't abuse of power from via the legal system, I'm not sure what is.
That's following like the New Jersey forums right now, and what the people are saying. One of the big debates is, should we hold contempt, or should we not punish, but how should we feel about the actual kid? Because a lot of, there's a debate. It's like, well, the kid knew what he was doing. He knows what he was signing off on as well. And then a lot of them were like, well, he's just a kid. The parents are the real ones that push the issue. And so there's sort of a debate there. But the lawyers too, right? The lawyers are the ones that I don't think anybody enjoys a world where you go around slinging baseless accusations.
Right. Exactly right. Okay. We'll transition elsewhere, I guess, for the time being. Coaching updates is what Willie put in here. I don't know. I don't have any.
There was a but we talked about the usual suspects. There's Edinburgh, there's Cleveland State, there's Little Rock. But the one that kept coming up the most when you tweeted, ask us questions, I saw several asking about Damian Hahn's assistants. I don't know if there's any update there.
I don't know. I think they're going to keep Cody Caldwell there, and I think as far as the rest of his staff goes, I'm not sure where they're going. I think, he's going to look at that Cornell tree for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Cam Simaz is interested.
There's been a lot of guys come through Cornell that would make good candidates, and that are still around wrestling, right?
Oh, for sure. So maybe someone like Cam. I know he wants to get a good lightweight coach in there. I'm not sure who that would be, who kind of fits that description. But thanks. Joe's just leaving. Like, Joe didn't even get to say goodbye. He's swapping out with Nomad. Just like that. Like a vapor in the wind, he's gone. He'll have to have him back again soon. Goodbye, Joe. He's probably going to make an Instagram post within 4 minutes now. So, I haven't heard much in terms of what direction he's looking apart from. He wants a light guy, maybe Cam Simaz. So, that's that. Other than that,
not much.
Haven't heard anything on Arkansas Little Rock. Haven't heard anything on Cleveland State. And and as far as I know, Flynn's bringing everyone with him now. Edinburgh's open, and that's been relatively quiet as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what else? You want to go to the Dream Team match?
Scream Team.
Yeah.
So
Nomad's dying to talk about this.
I am not.
I'm not dying because.
See what? So what had happened? What had happened?
I'll explain this.
Okay.
Yesterday, at Flow Sports, it was the most obnoxious argument, and I actually was minimally involved for once. I just kind of like.
What he's saying is we hashed it out. We hashed it out, like with passion.
I'm glad we did it there. Honestly,
it would have been
because it was a mess.
Everyone would have hated us.
Yeah.
More than they do now.
Right.
Well, it's spoiled a little bit because I think everybody saw the clips going around and everybody saw the debate going around on the Ja'Cory Teamer Brayton Lee match, and they were pumped for us to talk about it on FRL, and we did it yesterday, and we're kind of exhausted from it.
Well, my only point is, I was watching the thing by myself. I wasn't in the G chat. I didn't see what anyone else's takes were throughout it, and I was like. As it was happening, I was like, Ja'Cory's stalling right now. All right, he gets warned. He's still stalling. He gets warned. Okay, another stall point. And then now Brayton's stalling. Okay, he gets warned. He's still stalling. He gets warned. I was like, this is great.
Nomad and I had the exact opposite reactions.
I know. I don't know how.
I was watching.
It's been like 50-50 on social, guys. You don't know how?
No, I don't. I truly, that's how I feel.
I'm watching the match. I'll say this. I'm pretty good at knowing when people are going to get dinged. And I'm watching the match, and I'm like, man, Ja'Cory's going to get dinged. Boom.
We got clippies?
Ja'Cory.
Yeah.
Ja'Cory got to engage here. Boom. It wasn't surprising to me in the least.
Yeah. Without redoing the whole thing, I'm not going to get into counting the top position, whatever. Was that, I don't know. But all I know is.
Well, that played into it because it gave up a point.
Yeah. I'm okay, and I'm okay with it, too.
A lot of people had problems with the time, including Nomad. A lot of people had problems not so much with the stalling, but at the time of the stalling. So the way that we are typically see them come in the situations we see them come. And so to their point, right? If a guy is rear standing for 4 seconds and gets dinged, the whole wrestling world goes, we never see that until there's at least a 5 count. Okay.
But the 5 count's fake.
1, the 5 count's fake, and 2,
what was Jacory doing there that was stalling?
And 2, it's a part of an accumulation of things, right? So the ref calls it rear standing stalling on a 4 count instead of a 5. Go watch the
Then call it
sequence. That's what I'm saying, Kyle. That's what I'm saying.
No, you can't just call it 5 seconds later.
You are upset about the timing of the call. That's precisely what I said. You are upset because you saw it being called at a time
when he wasn't stalling.
In a situation
I am pissed about it.
Different from what you're normally seeing. Put it all together.
The timing of the call is what makes it wrong. Like, either call it in the moment. Makeup calls suck. Straight up, they suck. Either call it in the moment when he's on a side headlock, which he, instead of calling stalling, he went with stalemate, which is also fine, or don't call it at all. It has to be called in the appropriate time. And I think situationally, the first call wasn't stalling, nor do I think cumulatively it was stalling in the first period. I don't think situationally the second one on top was stalling, nor do I think cumulatively it was stalling. I think, in part, the match got to the ref, and then I think at the end he made another makeup call on Brayton, hitting Brayton twice. That was crazy. If that's how wrestling is going to be reffed, I don't want to watch it anymore.
Jacory was stalling from neutral. He was backing away from Brayton the entire time.
The entire time.
Okay.
I mean, there was a point where there was one time. Go watch it again. There was one time where Brayton goes like this and Jacory goes like this.
Don't touch.
Like a boxer. Like a boxer avoiding contact.
Yeah.
So, listen, you can think it wasn't stalling all you want.
Because it wasn't.
You say you don't want to watch wrestling like that? I do.
Let's give refs more power because they never mess anything. Yes, it is.
No.
If you call it, they will inject themselves into every single match if you let them officiate like that.
Do you know what's
the reason
worse?
I'm pissed off about it is because wrestling is not officiated like that. And you can't just change it in that match. Either change the rules. You can't just make up your mind and say, I'm going to call it this way.
What's also very odd to me...
It's not even a black and white thing.
This wasn't some renegade. This wasn't just like, oh my gosh, he's literally changing the sport now. It was very well within...
Yeah.
If you don't
it's
see
not
that,
called like that.
If you don't see that that's within the margins to be called stalling, this is not some renegade off the whistle hitting a double stall.
Yeah.
He was backing away. He was stalling. He wasn't returning. He was stalling.
He wasn't returning?
Brayton was avoiding. He was stalling. Okay?
You get hit twice in 11 seconds. When does that ever happen?
In the
Brayton Lee.
That was ridiculous.
In the Olympics.
Okay, and then
the amount of
in the Olympics,
calls,
we're going to talk about freestyle versus folk style
Yeah.
right
so
now.
are we? Yeah, I don't get the freestyle. That has nothing to do with it. But
The point does.
so I don't think. I don't know. I think it was justified to make those calls, but there's a potential. The consequence that you're not realizing is that this could help. If every official had this kind of mentality, then Jacory doesn't back away that much, and then Brayton knows he can't back away that much. But because they swallow their whistles every single match, because we see it so much that basically 20 seconds, you just have to make that 20-second part, and you can run because no one's going to hit you twice. But you should be hit twice.
That's what I'm saying about the Olympics. Yeah, that's freestyle. The same point. Everybody, Ganzerich ran, and he got dinged for fleeing for caution, and that you cannot just say there's 15 or 20 seconds left in the match, therefore he gets a free pass to run around and do whatever.
Because that's what Brayton did.
Yes.
No, it's not. How can you even say that?
It's also...
I have the clip right here. Can we play it?
I've been trying to get.
Play
Yeah,
it.
Well, I
I've
don't
been
know if
asking
we
for
can
clips.
play it today.
What's also very odd to me is that you guys are
I would
like...
love to see him run around the mat right here.
You guys are team captain of refs interject themselves at the wrong times all the time. And this is a ref who interjected himself 5 times in the course of the match, and every time was wrong.
No.
Nope.
You're.
Brayton really ran there, man. I can't believe that. Looked like a track star.
Backing away.
You
backing
said
away.
he ran.
He's backing away. All right, whatever.
Oh, congrats. He stalled. Or
Backing away.
he sprawled right there off a shot, and then he posted on his head.
I like it.
Jacory was doing a lot
the
there
way-
to get through that post.
I love it.
I wish stalling was called like that every match.
I think that's how it should be called.
It's a good thing you guys aren't officials.
Say the same for you.
Yeah. That's the way it should be called.
By the way,
sport would be more enjoyable.
Yeah.
for the record,
Ja'Cory, I mean, it looked to me like Ja'Cory got the first takedown and was like, I'm milking this lead all the way to
I'm good.
Have you ever watched Ja'Cory wrestle?
yeah.
That's how he wrestles every single match.
I don't care what his style is.
And he took multiple other shots after
he
that.
backs away, and
I'm not talking about
and
that.
then people will say,
Willie.
"Well, he wasn't backing away; he was circling." Well,
Willie.
whatever. He was not. He was evading.
Shut
He was
up.
not
I'm talking
getting
about.
into tie up.
Listen, you're saying he tried to milk a lead. Watch the match. He took multiple other shots, was scrambling and countering Brayton. He wasn't just trying to sit there and milk that.
He took sporadic shots. And
What are you talking about? He was in so deep one time, Brayton had to kick out of bounds.
Yeah, one
He
time.
once again got in on a double and drove him out of bounds, but they
Listen,
just ran out of room.
I don't care.
You don't care? You said he was milking a lead.
I don't care that you take a shot. You take a shot, right? Once every minute 15, and that leaves you off the hook for the rest
It
of
was
the time.
not
That's
once
not
every
how
minute
this works.
15.
No.
That is the biggest misconception with this match. That Brayton was so much
his
more
veins
offensive
popping out.
than
Look at that neck
Ja'Cory.
vein.
Ja'Cory was probably 40% as offensive, and his style anyway is reattacks. And there are so many guys in college, in high school, who do the exact same thing that Ja'Cory does and don't get hit to that same extent.
Find me a guy that wrestles that backs away like that.
Jordan Oliver.
Jordan Oliver
Nope.
used to literally count the steps backwards.
How many times did we watch him
To the
push
back of the
Brent
mat,
Metcalf
yeah.
away at the U.S. Open a couple years ago? He
Yeah,
literally
got-
backs
he got-
away.
He got hit and he got put on a shot clock immediately every single time he did
But
that.
he wrestles like that. He backs away. Yes, he does.
No, there's a difference
only
between
wrestles Metcalf
creating
like that.
space and not wrestling.
Oh my God.
There's a difference between creating space and not trying anything.
Please, he was trying stuff. They're ridiculous.
And Brayden himself was like, yeah, these stall calls
Okay,
were kind of
who
ridiculous.
cares?
I don't care what Brayden
Yeah,
says.
you don't care what the
Brayden-
kid on the
guy
mat.
who was
No.
in the match.
You don't
like,
care
a
what the
minute
kid
ago.
on the mat saw and felt. And he said, I wasn't even trying to do anything right there.
I
Yeah.
don't care what he
There
said.
has to be a component
good.
of the
Brayden
offensive
was
wrestling.
stepping
intelligent.
forward and Ja'Cory was circling. I don't care what he says, and I don't care what you say.
There has to be a component of the offensive wrestler
'Cause you're
installing and the
always
other
right.
guy installing. If I'm wrestling Kyle and I'm circling around, but he's also not making contact or trying to attack or trying to leg attack, then Kyle's not doing
leg
anything
attack when the
either.
guy's moving
Breaking
backwards.
news, breaking news. It is official. This is done. We're done with this. Better news. Frank Chamizo, Jordan Burroughs, done deal, beat the streets May 17th. It is happening.
Live on FloWrestling.
Live on FloWrestling.org.
Hopefully they ref it appropriately.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure that Chamizo's evasion will be hit for passivity frequently.
Well, good. We thought it was going to come, and now it's official.
That is freaking awesome. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be a great weekend or a great week because you're going to have to beat the streets on, Wednesday or Thursday, and then you're going to have junior trials and senior trials challenge tournament like 2 days later. It'll be a great week of wrestling.
I can't wait. Me and Bader doing the double dip.
You doing both?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. Beat the streets. I say it every year. It's like my favorite thing.
Well, I can't wait for the Open, and part of what has lacked on the U.S. senior level for so long has been a series, has been a sort of a schedule, right? Credit to USA Wrestling for always incentivizing, and this is something that general fans have had a problem with, is that, man, you win the Open, you sit in the finals. I don't know if that's that's not fair. Like, if you don't sit in the finals, nobody's going to go to the Open. It's pointless to go to the Open.
Yeah. Other than,
to
you
qualify. Right?
But it's pointless to win. Just
Right.
get top six. I'm done.
Just make the semis and then dip, right? So every major sport has a season. Wrestling is now starting to have a season with the U.S. Open to qualify and incentivize to sit in the finals, with a trials, with a Final X series, with events like Beat the Streets and juniors becoming more popular. It's exciting.
And if you throw in the UWW calendar with it, it's even, you got World Cup, which feeds to the Open, which feeds to trials, Beat the Streets, Final X, then Worlds.
With some of those tournaments, I mean, kudos to UWW for making. I think it should be tweaked, but for making seeds, making the continentals count, making certain tournaments count for seeding. Now it's follow alongable. Before it was just, who cares what anybody does, and then everybody in the pool at Worlds. I mean, there's nothing to that, right?
Right.
So it's a good time to be a fan.
We're getting that way. Typically, I don't know the full card for Beat the Streets, but I would imagine that all the Final X, the guys that are in Final X, are going to be wrestling, and gals. I would assume. I don't know that to be sure.
So there's an awful lot of people that have to go to Rochester for the trials. There'll be less of that after the Open because some of those guys will sit, but some of them are locked up for Rochester, so they won't be able to go to Beat the Streets. But there'll still be a lot of star power at Beat the Streets. Chamizo, Burroughs,
Chamizo, Burroughs. So let's talk about that match. I think we've talked about it. Do we want to talk about it a little more?
I don't know. Nomad last time went rogue on us.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez. Is he?
Because I think that Frank Chamizo has a legitimate chance against Jordan.
No,
Burroughs.
That's not what you said.
That's not what you said, bud.
You said he has more upside.
I do think he has more upside right now than Jordan Burroughs. Jordan Burroughs is 30.
He's not 30, and he doesn't have more upside than him.
Jordan Burroughs is incredible and will probably win, but at their 100%.
Then why doesn't he initiate his own offense if he has so much upside? That's my question.
That's his style. He doesn't have to. That's
he
his
has
thing.
to. He needed to in 2016.
Yeah, and he lost. Just because, do you understand? Like, upside means you still can lose.
I know, but I feel like if he's got more to give, he has more.
He has a lower floor and a higher ceiling. Burroughs is far more consistent. I'm rehashing the same things I said. He's far more consistent. He's better on top. He's done it more often.
One lower floor, as in 1 year Burroughs took 7th, and all the other years he's medaled.
No, he's right. He's like, Chamizo's bad will be worse than Burroughs.
Yes.
So it's like the range is like this, and he thinks Burroughs' range is like, I guess, like this.
Which is why it's wiser to
because
pick
of
Burroughs.
Age? You mean going forward because of age?
But it's part of it, yeah.
Chamizo could be how old?
Yeah.
Chamizo's been making
38, dude.
There's a lot of miles on those tires. He's been making world teams since like 2010. How old was he when he made the world finals at 55?
Like 17 or 18.
Oh my gosh. What a monster.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. We'll see.
And
We're going to see it.
Yeah, I'm just psyched it's happening because in my opinion, there's no, again, outside of Snyder Sedge Live, there's no other match that could draw this level of attention.
It's also interesting in the context of could it influence? No, it probably doesn't influence what Chamizo does for the Olympics, but it could influence on what he does for Worlds, right?
Well,
if he goes out there and gets outclassed, maybe he goes 70.
I wonder about that. Part of me thinks he's. Well, what do you think, Nomad? Is he going to stay at 70 or 74, or do you think he's going to go down, or do you think this will kind of dictate where he goes? Will Jordan banish him down to 70 kilograms where he belongs? I believe that's what will happen. He will be banished.
Are we talking this year for Budapest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think this will directly have any impact on if he decides to go 74 or not. I mean, look, there's no one in Italy that's at 70 or 74. It seems like, hey, man, we really need this for the team. No, it's Chamizo's world, and we're all living in it. If Chamizo wins, I think that may make him more likely, but he may just be like, yeah, you know what? Whether I win or not, I'm too small, and I need to bulk up. But I do think 74 is where he's going to go for Tokyo. And so at some point, you just make the decision, whether it's this year or next year, like, yeah, I'm just going to go up.
I think he should make he probably should. It would behoove him just to stay up, unless it's just like easy for him to drop down. But I think he should start adding size. I would like to see him remain at 74. I think it's interesting. Should this be a loser leaves town match?
No,
Chamizo comes over here. He trains with our guys. We want to beat Chamizo at World. He beat an American in the World Finals. Should we say?
Yes, it did.
Chamizo, you like in Pulp Fiction, when Bruce Willis lost his L.A.
You
privileges.
lost all your LA privileges.
Chamizo should lose his American privileges. You're not going to train with us anymore if you lose this match. I think the stakes should be higher.
And if Burroughs loses,
then
you said loser leaves town. You want to expel Jordan Burroughs? That's terrible.
No, it's just Chamizo. No, this is it. No, we'll
It's
say
a Chamizo
Burroughs
leaves town
No,
match.
what we'll say is Burroughs can't train in Italy. That's fair.
Yeah.
Fine. No more Italian training camps for
Chad.
Jordan. That's even. Loser leaves town match. Let's get it going. I think that would be awesome. Except I kind of like it when it comes to America.
You know
But
what
I don't want us to make him better. Right? He comes, trains with all
No.
these Americans.
No, I do want him to make us better because Burroughs is exactly the kind of guy that's like, I want the best. Burroughs was like crestfallen. He never got to wrestle Sargush again. Right? He's like, no, I want to wrestle that dude. I want to beat him. I want to prove that I'm the best because that's Jordan Burroughs' mindset. That's why he's incredible. I want the best version of Chamizo. That's why I want to see that version of Chamizo that I think has a higher ceiling than Burroughs because I want to know if Burroughs still has that, which I believe he does.
Well, for James Green's
Because it's what we
sake,
saw
I
last
want
year.
him to lose town.
Is Sargush coaching Russian juniors?
Yes, Team Moscow. They did very well at the Russian Junior Nationals. Sidebar.
Team Moscow, is that like the Young Guns of Russia?
No, come on.
Moscow
Dagestan.
Mules, they call them. Christian thought that was funny.
That made me think of
But yeah,
Buddy
literally the
Brock
best
Height.
thing for Jordan Burroughs is Chamizo or whomever to be at their absolute peak and for him to go in that deep well we've seen him go in time after time after time and just vanquish them.
Well, especially at Beat the Streets, right? I mean, you get your hands on him at Beat the Streets, although Chamizo wrestles a little different. I don't think we saw the best performance of Chamizo against Jordan Oliver.
Correct.
But yeah, Jordan gets to get his hands on him, see what he's about, feel him out a little bit. You know what I was thinking? Small transition here. What UWW and USA Wrestling did, well, UWW with the day of weigh-in, like one impetus into making that happen. Well, it's obviously weight safety, but it was also hey, we can promote the finals better, right? On day 2, and so we can have all these storylines coming out and yada yada yada. However, with the way that they do registration and the first day weigh-in, you can't market the day 1 stuff, right?
Huh?
You could market. You could market before when there was night before weigh-ins.
You would have the brackets.
You would have the brackets, and then you'd go through this bracket reaction, and you would put up articles, and you're like, Kyle Snyder's path to the title, and Logan Stieber's road to gold, and you could do that stuff. But now you can't. You might not even know who the representative is from a country.
Well, here's the thing about that with USA events and UWW events, and I don't understand why you could so easily do this.
Right, but they don't.
Just draw the bracket.
Yeah.
Do the bracket, and if someone misses weight or something like that, then you adjust the bracket.
Yeah.
But at least we have, 95% of the bracket.
Draw the bracket.
What is the harm in that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I think a lot of these tournaments, and Christian, you've seen it too by overseeing other sports. How many sports do we see that we do, that Flo does, that registration's goofy? You don't know who's coming up. You don't track and field events. I'm like, hey, what's the juice here? What are we pumping up? Well, we don't know yet because the heat sheets didn't come out we don't know who's entered yet. I'm like, the thing is in 6 hours. They're like, yeah, we don't know till tomorrow.
And you
That's
know what's
terrible for the sport.
And you know what's those sports are symptomatic of sports that
struggle.
They're on the fringes.
Yeah.
That are on the periphery. Get a clue.
Right?
I mean, not that we're saying like, okay, release brackets the day before it changes everything, but those are symptomatic, right? Mm-hmm. That's a decision that's like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, it's just easier to do. What does that matter if it's easier to draw the bracket the morning of? So just release them.
It's going to stink. It's going to stink at Worlds where, we would go to weigh-ins. One of the coolest things about attending Worlds is going to weigh-ins and everybody going to the board when the board comes up and they draw their numbers and people are there's 100 people with their smartphones taking pictures and then you figure out the bracket and then you're tweeting stuff. Like, you ever tweet a draw from a world championship and people go nuts for it? You can't do that now. The brackets are going to come out and you're going to wrestle a couple hours later. FloWrestling, we have a stable of guys, right? We have 6 guys here.
A barn full.
Yeah. We have 6 guys here who are just itching to write some preview material. The guys at the open mat, the guys at intermat, the guys everywhere are itching. Guys at UWW probably are itching to write stuff. We can't market it because we don't know until an hour before they're going to wrestle.
Yeah, I'm with you, Willie. The like sitting down with Richard Immel last year in Paris, and for just an hour, we'd be like, we're cross-referencing credentials and going through. All right, so if this guy wins, he'll have him, but then we could have this guy out of this quarter, and like, okay, this is the quarter of death, and yeah, it's and having been to the Schultz and the FRL, it's really frustrating because it's like, all right, we got brackets and we're wrestling.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, I don't even know what's the potential quarters, what's the potential semis, who got separated.
They need to do something about that. I think.
And this is not a decision that's like, it's like changing away from the ball draw system. That was like that's sport changing. This is an easy one. You don't need a bureau meeting to sort this out. It's like, wait, we'll just release them the day before so that we can.
And another component of this too is the federations should have to submit a roster, and because you don't even know, sometimes you don't even know who they're bringing, right? They should have to submit a roster, and they should be public then when the federations all have them in, and they should be locked. And if they make weight, they make weight, and if they don't, you don't have a guy in the bracket. But then the brackets are set the night before, and we're all happy about it.
Yeah. So that's a good point. I hadn't even been thinking about that. All right, so where to next, friends? 8:45. We're humming. This baby's humming.
8:45 already.
I'm telling you. 8:46.
You had 2 cups of coffee.
It keeps
this morning,
changing.
didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Look how
He
much
made a
it was.
second one. I think he spilled the whole thing.
Should we?
How'd you know?
I saw you out there dancing around. I didn't know.
I thought no one noticed. I was like, I'm gonna have a second cup. Went to I'm clumsy. Just poured the whole thing everywhere. Yeah, all over. All the paper towels. I even got on my new shoes.
Kyle, can we get a shot at Kyle Bradkey? How you doing, bud?
I'm good.
I think are you still a little heated?
No, I'm just shaking my head at Christian being clumsy like always.
Hey,
right.
I won that clumsy yesterday on the courtyard.
We're off. I really want to get
You average 2 whiffs a game.
2 whiffs. I averaged 2 wins per series. I bet as well.
I really want to get into the U.S. Open stuff, but I guess we'll have to wait for a little bit. I mean, that's
well. Do we?
Can we talk about the rankings? Because
we can talk about rankings.
We should start with this on the rankings. They're not our rankings. We didn't rank Zayn ahead of Logan. These are USA's rankings.
I can't wait till Hawkeye Report yells at us.
Oh, are they yelling at us?
I don't know.
Probably.
I'm sure they will after this.
Probably. But yeah, we don't do these rankings. They're USA rankings, right? You wouldn't arrest someone for just selling someone drugs, right? Okay. From the office. So yeah, that's how they did those rankings. But yeah, I think they're by and large not that far off, right?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, Nomad will probably have a problem with, I don't know,
Saran Francisco
and somebody else being 9 and 10 or something like that. I find nothing wrong with them.
there are a couple questions.
It's kind of funny. Spencer is behind NATO.
Yeah.
That's a little.
Spencer's behind NATO and Zahid is behind Mark. And
But it's clearly only.
Well,
hold on. But if you're saying, and so at least that's consistent. But if you're saying NCAA championships, to win NCAAs as a qualifier for World Team Trials, then should the result not matter?
Exactly. No, you're right. I mean, if they're giving it the value, right? So they're saying it has some ranking value. Now, yeah, Mark ahead of Zahid, but maybe they could very reasonably say, hey, winning Junior Worlds is a bigger
It
criteria.
didn't help Spencer, though.
Huh? Well, he won Junior Worlds 2 years ago now.
What's
Well-
NATO done?
Well, and also NATO. Now, because see that.
Well, NATO's made national team, senior level
NATO-
national team.
And was
But that's the thing, though, is it's inconsistent in that sense. And if you're saying, all right, well, NATO's been on the senior level, well, Spencer has never done anything on the senior level, right? Like, who's number 6?
Yeah, I think you're just illustrating the point of like, man, it's tough. You're comparing NCAA folk style.
Yeah.
You've got juniors who've never wrestled
Yeah.
seniors, and you're trying to give them. Okay, it's disingenuous to not have Spencer ranked, but how high can we put him when he's never wrestled? So I think they're trying to
and that's a
weigh
7
lot of
kilogram
stuff.
jump too.
7 kilogram jump, and it's been 2 years, and Spencer's clearly only gotten worse since that time.
Well, it's obviously a troll job for the Hawkeye fans.
They got him.
But-
I think Gary Abbott got him.
Well, listen, when we're going down that far, there's a couple nitpicky things, but overall they're pretty good.
Valencia behind Vincenzo Joseph just sticks out to me, even though it's probably right because Valencia's done some stuff on the freestyle scene.
Yeah.
We haven't seen. I'm curious if we'll see Vincenzo Joseph. Vincenzo could be the number 1 contender at 74. Dan Valamont's ranked 2nd, guys.
That is
Hell-
the most egregious.
Give me a hand here. Dan Valamont is one of the coolest, nicest guys in
What
wrestling.
did he do?
Bar none. I have no idea how he's ranked 2nd.
Did he make the final? He made the finals of FRL, I think.
Yeah, where he lost to Tommy Gant
He got Gannett.
by 11-0.
Well,
Tommy Gant is 5th.
I don't understand that. I don't understand the Valamonster.
Yeah, that's a weird
I'm
one.
Team Valamont all the way.
It,
I think. Yeah, I don't know.
A couple things. I don't.
But my
Jimmy
great-
Kennedy is apparently retired.
That's interesting.
Jimmy Kennedy's retired. Nobody knew.
Did
about
he
that.
outgrow 70?
I don't know, but is Kellen Russell still?
yeah, so that one confused me because Russell is qualified for the trials at 70 because he won the Schultz, but is not ranked in 70, including some guys he finished ahead of / beat at, like Jason Chamberlain, at the Schultz.
Okay, right. That's one. And then, like, what's the Dardane situation? They're not in the rankings at all.
There's training partners, maybe.
So we're going down the list. I mean, we're
Yeah,
going
let's-
down.
I think
That's the rankings.
But my question, 74, and this was we had our content meeting yesterday talking about the 74. Who is left? We're going to do an article about all the people that have run from this weight. And I say run, it's like kind of, but like that are not in the weight anymore. They were at 74 and now they're not. And it looks completely different. And I look at who's left. Vincenzo Joseph might be the second best guy at this weight. I know he's not like freestyle. His freestyle chops are not the same, but I think much of what he does, folk style, translates freestyle. I think he's got incredible talent, and I see a bunch of guys that he's beaten ranked ahead of him.
Yeah. Well, so you have him. You have Chenzo. You have Aymar, Kolchitsky, Gant,
Yeah,
Alex Marinelli.
yeah. If you're looking for someone that can maybe present that kind of X factor, a little element of danger against Jordan, maybe it's Chenzo. I mean, it's no one, but if it's someone, I think it's probably him, right?
I'm looking at this weight. I'm looking at this weight as Burroughs is sitting in the finals, and I'm just gonna enjoy whatever the Open gives us. Right? I'm not looking at this weight like who is going to be.
Yeah.
Who could unseat Burroughs? I'm just like, let's see the rest of these guys and enjoy it for what it is. Who can win the Open?
And maybe someone will emerge. Maybe we'll be like, oh, okay, this is great. So that's 74. We're really jumping around here. But next, do we want to talk about Dayton and Gable a little bit?
I mean, there's a bunch of things to talk about Gable with, right? There's people saying, I said best ever, and then you got to go to, y'all posted, or Joe Kania posted something.
We have to talk about this.
Mako Gable.
Can we talk about this specifically? Because
Sure.
it's maybe, to me, the most fascinating hypothetical high school versus like legend matchup ever. I don't know. I can't think of one that's more interesting because they're both kind of, Mako is probably more mythological than Gable, if you can imagine. And I think one reason that I think the majority of people, and maybe it's just recency bias, and this happens, and it could be reality as well, is Gable. It's Gable over Mako, and Gable's the better prospect, etc. But one thing, I don't think Gable is snapping Mako. Okay, I think there's a tremendous amount of strength that Mako possessed that would have made some of what Gable does more difficult. Now, in terms of speed to the leg and some of the things that Gable does, yeah, he's got it on him. But there's a strength component that I think keeps Mako in this hypothetical match we'll probably never see.
I mean, I think that Mako could beat Gable.
I do too. I mean,
I'm not saying he would. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion. I don't know who I would pick in that match.
I don't either. And maybe I wouldn't have felt this way, but Kirkfleet gave him a match. He wrestled with him. He wrestled with him. He didn't beat him, but he showed he could wrestle with him. Whereas Gable has basically destroyed everyone since Jordan Wood when he was a sophomore. So I think Mako would absolutely be able to wrestle him. And
there's this continuum of Gable Stevenson that's like this. We go, is he the best? I said it, best prospect ever. What would be the most compelling match in the history of high school wrestlers? Mako and Gable, you could talk about that. But then there's also this continuum where, like on the other side of the spectrum, he just had a 3-1 match with a high school junior. Mm-hmm. And then this. Who would you take? Gable Mason Paris.
I would take Gable. I think it's a really bad matchup for Mason. You're not gonna be able to finish on your knees against Gable, and in fact, and that plays right into his short offense too.
And I don't think that Mason. I think if Mason was a full-time wrestler and more polished and had I mean, that's what makes Mason great, right? Is he has this high ceiling because he's so good already, and there's nowhere to go but up. As he devotes his time to one sport. But at the same time, if they wrestled right now, you'd have to edge Gable because Mason just doesn't have. He hasn't felt that before. I mean, Gable's positioning and footwork is so just far superior to what we have seen in high school. Couch, what do you got? What would you guys say? Mako, Gable, and Gable Paris.
Gable on both accounts.
Okay. I think
Gable, because I think every time that we've seen Gable be challenged or like try to be intimidated, remember the finger wag from Cadet Worlds? Like, okay, you can throw me off the stage. I don't care. All right, Mako, you can try to kick me instead of foot sweep me. I don't care. I'm better than you. I'm going to beat you. I have better feet. I'm a better athlete. I'm a better wrestler. Technique-wise, unquestionably better wrestler. And I'll also to the Kirkfleet thing, I just wait and see, folks. Kirkfleet's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I know. Kirkfleet is.
Yeah, we know that.
For sure, but, I mean, Mako didn't have, to my knowledge, a 3-1 match with anyone in high school. Now, what was the landscape? I can't speak as to.
He can't call it.
I can't call it. However, I do think that he was more. There's maybe a little more dominant.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying. I love Gable. Think the world of him. I was when he won his first Cadet World title. He did it with. I was there. He did it with
grit.
He did it with talent. He did it with grit. He did it with heart. I love Gable. But what I'm saying is when you're talking about the narrative of this, when you're talking about Gable Stevenson and the Pantheon, you have to consider all parts. He won cadets. He won juniors when he was still a cadet age level. We're comparing him to Mako, but he just had a 3-1 match with a high school junior. So, what is it? Where is he at?
For sure.
In the pantheon of things.
That would be both. Those are two guys with super heavy hands, Gable and Mako.
Yeah.
Gable, he moves guys unbelievably. And I think to the Paris question, let's see what happens 2 years in that room, right? Mm-hmm. Coach Bormet, Adam Kuhn, all those guys working with him. Who knows what he can become? Mm-hmm. Because I talk about, and it was the second time I've referenced Mike Riordan in one show, but he made this point about how he finishes on his knees. And I guess I never really thought about it until he mentioned it. But that's really hard to do. Also, it's like he must have just otherworldly strength in some of these positions that he can do that. I mean, he's able to do it against Brandon Whitman, who I think is really, really good.
He is
So who knows? They're freaks in this world that just do things that, like, yeah, maybe you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to be able to shoot a double leg like Jordan Burroughs does, right? Like, there's some people just kind of can break the rules with how they wrestle. And Paris could be one of those guys, and we could look back, and I'm hoping, and as much as I love Gable, I would love for him to just not run away with NCAs every time. I don't want another Zane Rutherford situation where it's like there's no point even discussing this way, right?
I don't think we're going to see that. Like,
I don't either.
As good as Gable is, and you said last show, 2020, he's your pick.
Yeah.
Right? As good as Gable is, he could hold the spot for Bruce Baumgartner-ish length of period. But I don't think he'll be unchallenged. I think Mason Paris is going to be at that level. I think Kirk Fleet's going to be at that level. And Gable might win every time. But it's not going to be – we're not going to go to sleep. We're not going to be like, Gable.
As much as it, we Gable tweeted about, man, I wish I could have wrestled Kyle Snyder, and, there's Adam Kuhn. Like, as much as that kind of stinks where we won't get to see him, there's a really good crop of heavyweights that are coming up that are going to face Gable every year, right? You got Cassiope and Neville's in there as well, and the Nash Hupmaker, who's also a freak. So it's kind of good in a way that Gable will have this group of guys coming up at the same time as him that will just always be challenging him and always chasing him and always pushing him.
Mm-hmm.
And for his historical accolades, he'll be able to say he did it if he wins everything. It's like, man, he did it, and he did it against a great crop. Whereas Zane Rutherford really can't make that claim, and that's not his fault.
I'm
right?
excited I'm excited about heavyweight in America and the international stage. Like you said with Zane. But even here, it's probably right that pulls deeper than what the 49 was for Zane. But I think in a couple years, Rio, whoever comes out of it for the United States, I think we have a really good shot. I was up all this weekend watching Russian juniors. Their Russian junior heavyweights were not impressive. I don't know what Georgia and Azerbaijan and Iran have, but I don't know. I think with our young group, I feel confident in the world stage. And then, we got on this topic. Christian said Dayton and Gable, and we're kind of talking about these youngsters that are junior eligible wrestling up at the senior level at the Open, and Dayton's going to wrestle the senior level as well. Did we say last show? Did I say last show I wish that they need to get juniors off that weekend?
Yeah, we talked about that. I agree completely. Because we made the point about, hey, as juniors are starting to come up and be great, we need to make sure they have opportunities to make
Spencer had the opportunity. Yanni has the opportunity if Yanni was healthy, right? I mean, these are all guys that could contend that have to choose, and you don't want to have them choose.
And what's interesting, and you mentioned Yanni, it's like, well, yeah, Yanni's not going to beat Zane. But are we going to see Zane this year?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a couple of things going on. He might not wrestle this spring, or maybe he's just going to take the Open off. But, there's a possibility he just takes this season.
It's a grind. He's been grinding for years.
And there's the other thing. Is he outgrown 65, which I wouldn't have guessed. But, man, 49 down to 43 and a half, that's not nothing, right? That's you just kind of naturally, I think, as
I do
NCAA fans, all right, you're a 49 pounder, that means you're 65.
Yeah.
That's just like, you don't even think about it. It's like, well, wait, that's 5.5 more pounds, and he's, who knows we don't know how hard the 49 cut. Maybe that was like not easy for him. So I don't know if we're going to see Zane or when we'll see Zane. I hope that we do see him, but I've reached out to people that would know, and they would not confirm to me he's wrestling this spring, which is interesting.
Yeah, I want to see Zane. What about Nolf? Will he be at the Open, you think?
I don't know about Nolf.
Meredith's not coming back till the fall.
I thought he wasn't even wrestling. I thought he was just
That's what I thought too, but then
hands on site.
He is.
Good.
But not till fall.
Not till the fall.
Christian, I'm with you on the Zane thing. Like, especially if UW's go into this, where there's going to be more of a season, like, And if we stick with Final X, that means, Zayn could potentially have to do, beat the streets, U.S. Open, Final X, World Championships, a Pan Am or 2 to 3 other events. Then you're looking at making 143 8-9 times a year.
No.
Well, here's the thing. Here's all he has to do. World Team Trials Final X.
Yeah, I know that's all he has to do, but I'm talking in the future, going forward, making 65 time after time after time after time. And maybe he's just thinking, like, I'll go up.
Times.
I know this year, but I'm saying he's also thinking long term. He has to be.
Yeah, but thinking long term, are you saying... Then if you're thinking long term, you're thinking 2020, which basically you're implying 74 kilograms for Zayn. I think that's...
Or shrink your body. Take a year to shrink your body.
Sure, but still, I don't follow you on the number of times you have to weigh in. It's only like 3 times.
I'm saying it behooves him to take this year and look at the landscape going forward and go, do I want to stay at 65 and shrink my body and have to do all these things over and over again, or try and grow?
Sure, I get that. I don't get the weigh-in part, because you don't have to weigh in 8-9 times.
All right. No, both said the same thing. 3 times.
I'm trying to understand.
I know. We're not getting there, though.
Going forward, he's going to have to weigh in more. That's my
No,
point.
he's not.
That's not true, though. He won't necessarily have to. If he wins Final X, he's automatically in the trials again. If he wins a medal, he's automatically out till Final X. He could potentially only make it, it's not determined how many times he would have to weigh in next year, is my point. Okay.
Let's get to questions.
Whoa.
We got a lot of questions.
We've got some questions. We've talked about this. The freshman. Someone asked, incoming freshman, best shot of dominating through NCAA Spencer Lee style. I mean, it's Gable. Dayton can win a title next year, but it's not going to look like Spencer. He's going to be more Snyder-ish. He's going to win the takedown battles. Dayton's more polished on top than Kyle is in folk style. He's got a decent tilt series, but
and it's a composition of their fields too, right? Like heavyweight cleared out, and 25 has a guy named Spencer Lee, and 33 has a guy named Seth Grow. I mean, there's more competition.
And someone asked about that. I would like to find the question, but I know it was asked. Where do you think Seth Gross Dayton fix? If we assume that Pitch goes 25 and Dayton goes 33, how do we see that playing out? I think that's one of the tougher matchups for Dayton.
Yeah, it's a weird matchup, right?
Yes, it's bizarre because one, where's Dayton great? He's really good on his feet. But he's not the greatest leg attacker. I mean, if we're poking holes in a guy who's a number one and one of the best guys in a generation, right? You can poke holes. He doesn't have a consistent leg attack, and he's more or less indifferent on the mat. Now, he's got the heart of a lion. He's an amazing competitor. He's got a amazing tank. And he's only going to get better, right? It's like we're kind of judging him off a high school version of himself. Now he's going to be in the Oklahoma State room. He'll be better. But I still think year one out the gate, he's gonna struggle with his.
There's this chasm of information on Dayton, in my opinion. I mean, we saw him at Reno or whatever.
Yep.
But then we didn't see him at the Scuffle. It's been a long time since we've seen Dayton in folk style.
For sure. And then I say that about Seth Gross, and then I remember Tariq Wilson had this guy beat. Mm-hmm. He had the winning takedown. He was in on the winning takedown in overtime against Seth Gross, and we're going to say that Dayton can't. No, Dayton can for sure win. But will Dayton be at 33? But 2, will Seth Gross be at 33? Because I know he's discussed moving up. I think it would behoove him to stay at 41. But
a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah.
Tariq's on the bubble, right? At 33 or 41. Seth Gross might be. I mean, remember, Seth Gross started as a 41-pounder.
Is Spencer Lee more dangerous on top in freestyle or folk style? Oof. Asks Tanner Lefevre. I think it's freestyle. Because every takedown for Spencer is a potential match ender in freestyle. And that's true in folk style, but there's a series of, you got to get the wrist, flip him over, return, give up the wrist, get it back. And he does that, right? But all he needs is one single leg, and you start spinning, and next thing you know, it's over. So I would say probably freestyle, and which is insane because he's otherworldly in folk style.
And the thing with that is, like, who hasn't he turned? And again, we haven't seen him on senior level, but based on his freestyle, who has he not turned?
Did he turn his guy in the world final? He scored a bunch of points, but I don't know if he ever.
You're talking about Mose?
Mose?
I mean, that year?
Yeah, the Mose year.
So that's like one
he
match.
Right, no, but I'm just saying.
But
you
yeah, no, I
asked.
see what you're
think he
saying.
turned
That's
him
crazy though.
Did he turn Dayton?
I'm almost sure he had to because
No.
it was.
I don't
was
think
just
he did.
takedowns.
Yeah, I don't
He did
think
not
he
turn
did.
Dayton. Did
Did
so
Dayton win
long
that
ago.
because he got the 4 on the trip and it was 6-6, right? And he won on. Did he win on last point scored or greatest?
I think he won on last point.
Only there was a place we could
criteria.
watch that match again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you differentiate between is he better in free or folk. Because here's the thing. Maybe it is a potential match ender in freestyle if he just rolls you up. But like in folk, if he gets one, it's over. You are not like if he gets a takedown and turn and you're up 6-0.
Forget it.
It's not over. It's over.
Right. Yeah, I still think in terms of just match termination, it's him. Okay, so Brad, a.k.a. ASAP Turd, asked a week or so ago how he could find love, okay? And we gave him some advice. But follow-up from Brad, do you think my chances of finding love are better now that I've relocated to Florida?
Yes.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Just because population density. Although I don't know where he lived before.
It doesn't look like he's changed his last name yet, though. That's a little concerning.
Should we say his last name?
No. No.
Yeah, it's his name. His name is his name.
No. No.
He's clearly not.
If
ashamed
Nomad
of it.
is so
His name is
adamant
Brad
against this,
Quitt.
I don't
God
think.
darn it, Willie.
That's his name.
We don't know that's his name. It's Twitter.
Yeah.
There's no
You-
requirement
Shoot.
like, hey, I got to put my real name on Twitter.
That's a good point.
Well, he said ASAP.
I could.
It
Make
doesn't have
my
to be your real name.
Nomad Donkey.
Don't do it.
No, why
would you
Don't
do that?
Finish that?
Because you can on Twitter. That's the magic of Twitter. You can be whoever you want.
That's true. Crap.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
no.
about for Brad Clitt. I'm thinking about the population of Florida. I mean, maybe some old retirement homes. There's
You
a
get
lot
you
of
a
ladies.
sugar mama, Brad.
I would get yourself a sugar mama.
A lot of that old money.
I fully support the sugar mama theory.
Yeah.
We know you do.
We know you do.
You support many mamas. Okay. You
I
really
don't even
think
know what that means.
You know what it means. Jay Adams asks, you really think Jaden bumps up for 2020 to have to beat the best in the world over going down to wrestle an older Taylor he's already beat? Yes.
Yes.
He can't make 86.
He won't make 86.
It's a stretch day before. 2 hours. If you had just stood next to that man at NCAAs,
I don't know how he ever did it.
well, his hyperactive sweat glands had to help.
Yeah.
He's the greatest sweater of all time.
What always confuses me with people is when they're like, why don't you just go this weight and beat this dude? And it's like, because sometimes your optimal weight is your optimal weight. And unfortunately, sometimes you're not the best guy at that weight. Jaden's pretty lucky that he's pretty much the best at whatever weight he wants to go. But like, sometimes your optimal weight isn't a weight that you can also make a world team. Like, if you want to win a world title, you should be at your optimal weight.
Right. And that's
Especially now.
That's kind of
especially
my-
with 2-day weigh-ins.
This is my Dake theory as well. It's why I believe Dake should go 74. Because, yeah, it's harder to make the team. And this could be not true, right? But this is just how I view the situation. He makes the team at 74. He's got a better chance of winning the Olympics than at 86 as a undersized 86-kilo guy. So that's why I think. And for Jaden, first of all, he can't make 86, period. He said that.
No,
it's true. He can't
that
make it.
ship has sailed. He couldn't make it if it was the old school weigh-ins, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. Even if they didn't change the weigh-in structure, there's a good possibility that Jaden's like, I'm not doing that again. They said it messed him up. We saw his performance in Paris. He did not look Jaden-esque. Now, also the other fact is, one, it's no lock that he's beating David Taylor. David Taylor, I mean, that's the most controversial World Team Trials series I think we've ever seen. Two, he can wrestle with Kyle. Kyle's a different cat. Kyle's the best in the world doing it right now. but I think his style matches up okay with Kyle in that that's going to be a close match within the margins, right?
Yeah, and
Give me Kyle, but
the most important point here is that Jaden Cox will not wrestle 86.
yes.
It's not happening.
So it's not about him like
It's
saying,
choice. It's not
yeah,
choice.
it's not like, well, I could go here or here. I'll just go here with Kyle. It's like, well, no, there's like other reasons you can't. Let's do one more question.
My question.
One more. I'm going to make it.
I have one also that I'd like to talk
We'll
about.
go
Maybe
for
we'll
it.
talk
You-
about this week.
No, go ahead.
So okay, and I'm probably gonna write an article about this. Every year for the last I don't know how many years, we've had a college guy make the world team. Is Seth Gross the most likely guy who still has eligibility left to make the world team this year? Thoughts, reflections?
That's a good question because we could say Mark Hall and Zahid, but they're in a tougher way, whereas 61, not as tough. It does not have Kyle Dake, Alex Daringer, etc. in it.
Or could it be
No,
Dayton
I would say
Spencer at
I would say
57?
I mean, you got.
I think Spencer or Dayton.
Yeah, you got to think 57, and then if you consider Zane at 65, if he was wrestling.
He doesn't have eligibility left. Though.
Oh, still next year.
Yeah, they can still wrestle in college next year.
Yeah.
But so probably one of those three, right, would be your
Zane, Dayton, or so it's basically who do you think, Spencer or Dayton? You pick that one, and then
Seth Gross in there and Zane for.
I
guys
think
who
it
still
probably.
wrestle.
I think if you had to put odds on it, I don't know.
Who's the favorite at 61?
That's my question.
Can somebody tell me who the favorite is at 61?
I think Joe Colon because I think Kendrick's better, but man,
Joe
134
Colon,
twice.
who just went 1 and 2 at the FRL.
Joe Colon, that was Jacob Colon.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
Jacob
That
Colon.
was Jacob
No
Colon.
wonder he
Yes.
went 1 and 2.
I was like, come on, Willie.
Well, I was looking at brackets. Jake Colon.
Jake Long has to be Joe. You know, there's.
Who's the favorite? Is he your favorite? Joe Colon?
Yeah, I think so. I'm assuming Maple's up.
I
got a story to tell you
134 twice for Kendrick Maple. I mean, God bless him. If he can do it, sure, go ahead, win it. I don't. That worries me.
I mean, look, here's the thing. Do you foresee John Morrison won the FRL? He beat.
Oh my gosh, John Morrison.
He beat Gross. He beat Graff.
Yep.
Do you see him winning the Open? My thing is great tournament, John. Let's see if you can do it again. Right? I mean, maybe he can, but
I'll say that Gross is not the most likely because I think there are like 6 or 7 guys that are on Gross's level, right? I mean, Graff, Cologne, John Morrison clearly, Cody Brewer. Well, there's 4 right there, just off the top. Maple makes a 5th. Corey Clark, who already has beaten him. There's 6 guys, right? Spencer and Dayton are they're the 3 or 4 best.
Brandon Wright made the challenge tournament, World Team Trials, the challenge bracket finals.
Yeah, and Brandon Wright's in the mix. Brandon Wright could beat Seth Gross.
What about
absolutely.
Maybe
you also
has.
have Nico and Nashon.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, it's Spencer or Dayton. Don't make me choose now.
Fair enough.
All right, that's a great one to end on. Why don't we go? I don't know if we have the outro music. Got a little slightly different setup here. Is that a Kyle Brackey responsibility? No.
Efren, can you just sing? Can you just sing the Baylor alma mater fight song?
Actually, no. What we need to say is thank you to ASICS. Thank you for your sponsorship, for your support, and everything you've done for us. And
I still want Efren to sing.
Efren's not going to sing. It's go time. See you guys later. We'll be back Thursday.